Bonjour les amis, do you want to speak French as in a conversation, but you feel like you're only a beginner? You can't find the words, you don't have enough vocabulary doesn't stick, you don't have someone to practice with. Are these your concerns, but you really would like to speak French like yesterday? I'm Llyane Stanfield, and today I'm starting a video series which addresses this desire of yours to show you that this is absolutely possible. French immersion for beginners. An immersion, if you have not thought about this before, an immersion is what most people like to get involved in once they start to learn a language. And so we're talking about French. So an immersion is going to France or to any francophone country, or not even going there, just being able to speak with a friend or someone who's francophone, and just speak only in French, not drifting away into English, not shutting up because you feel embarrassed because you don't have your vocabulary, and also finding these people to speak with, because most of you told me that you really don't have someone to make conversation with. And so most of the people feel that an immersion should happen once we really know the language well. And there is a good reason to feel that, to think about it this way. Yeah, we need to have some vocabulary, we need to have some grammar, we need to have some comfort with the language before we go and speak only in French to sustain that conversation. But done in a certain way, and I'm very careful about this because some people really are jumping into immersion as beginners, and then they are very disappointed because it was very challenging, and they felt they were the worst in the group. So done the right way, an immersion can successfully be done for a beginner. And the condition number one is that that immersion is done one-on-one. So yeah, you heard well, one-on-one. I know that the concept of an immersion is, well, we go there in a group, we make conversation in a group with a ton of people from France. But if you don't quite have the confidence and the comfort level to sustain a conversation at a level of a group, then it's going to be very overwhelming, and many people are coming to me after an immersion done too soon, thinking, I'm just not able to learn French, it's just not for me, I just can't learn French. So first, this idea that I'm learning a lot of things and I'm so good at learning anything, but just languages are not easy for me, or impossible. I just can't learn languages. I'm going to say to you this. A language cannot be learned the way we learn anything else. Language is a performing art, and there are many linguists, and if you go on my website, on my How is Joëlette method different? There's a page that I created there, and it's accessible from like anywhere in the website. You will see a little more talk about that. A language is a performing art. We use someone else's words, and we express ourselves through them. It's pretty much like an actor or any performing artist. We use someone else's material and we make it our own, and we express ourselves through it. So we should learn language, we should learn French the way that people learn how to act. Now that could be for some people even more inhibiting, because a lot of us think that we are really not good at being a performer, being an actor who wants to be the center of attention of so many people is really daunting. But that doesn't mean that you can't talk one-on-one, and that is exactly my point why conversation and immersion should be started one-on-one. And yes, I do organize immersion retreats in Paris for 7 days, and they are all one-on-one. Again, you and I making conversation, or me helping you make conversation with someone else, but without resorting to your mother tongue, but just French to French. So what this video series is about, I'm going to share with you 8 techniques, the 8 techniques that I'm using to help people to become conversationalists in 5 months. And that is very feasible, and you can try on your own. Only first you have to be very open to hearing things that you've never heard before. Or maybe you did hear them before, but not applied to language, to you, to what do you have to do in order to learn French. And if you have been successful so far just with learning words, learning grammar, putting them together, I salute you for that. Well done. However, we are talking here about making conversation as beginners. We have 10 words and 3 verbs, and we are actually making conversation. And this is the secret. This is what I'm gauging, as in, like, this is what I'm addressing. Beginners who have absolute belief that they cannot make conversation. I have the techniques that I use from other industries, from performing arts and neuroscience, that help you make the conversation even if you are a beginner. So I'm going to start with, first of all, I want you to take a step back and put down a few things, a few beliefs of yours and a few thoughts of yours regarding French. So first of all, why do you want to learn French? It is so important for you to really pin it down and write it in black on white, why it is that you really want to learn French. And many people are saying to me, because I'm asking this question in my group, when people are coming to join my group, why do you want to learn French? Most people are giving me this answer: because I love the language, because I love the culture. Sure, and it's a very valid answer, as well as very general. So that doesn't actually make it yours. Doesn't, for instance, when things are going rough, doesn't actually light you up. Oh my God, this is why I want to learn French. And yeah, I'm going to go through this hardship to eventually speak it so that I can get to experience that. So you have to go down to experience. What do you want to experience? And when you want to go to that thought, just really be very specific to things that are really meaningful to you. Don't say croissants, or maybe if croissants is what is specific to you, then say that. But don't just say, I want to eat, I like, the food. But rather go for, I like the smell and the taste of the filling, the creamy filling of the chocolate eclair when I bite into it, and the cream goes and melts into my mouth, all over my tongue, and the smell of it with that coffee combined with it. Oh, I would die for it. I really want to have that experience and share it with the French, because the sound, and also the sound, I like how this language sounds. That's quite specific, but I like the language, right? It's very general. But if you say, I like the sound of the words crème brûlée, I just love it, and I like hearing it. It gives me shivers on my back. It gives me goosebumps when I hear or even when I taste éclair, right? So really taste your words, feel your words, and make it so that it boils down to real feelings, like the five senses. Really so important, because those are your specific, very specific experiences you want to have. And you like to, I like, for instance, Chanel 5, and so I like to have a conversation with a French lady who has a great like hat, you know, those like big hats, because I love hats, and I never ended up finding a hat that would fit me, but I like to admire someone that has those large, you know, hats with that smells like Chanel, but that smell that doesn't really hit you. But as she speaks, when she speaks and the air comes out of her mouth, the smell of some perfume of that, oh my God, it's just amazing experience to me. So make that yours. Be that specific. Why do you want to learn French? And write it down and keep it safe, so that whenever the hardship comes, go back to those sensorial motivations of yours, particular, very specific to you, and they are going to motivate again, go back into the learning. Then what are the things I want to learn that don't stick? So if it's languages, then yeah, I tried Spanish. Don't just say languages. That is not specific enough for the brain to grasp on and to be motivated by it and keep going. For instance, what are things that I know that don't stick? In my case, memorization, right? So things that I have to memorize. Although I do know now, because I'm also an actor, and so I know that I've been learning a lot of roles, and I've been in plays like 3 hours on stage. So I've been okay, no problem with memorizing those words. But thing is, I had a specific techniques to learn them. That technique is what I'm applying to everything. It has to be experiential for me. So for you too, what are other things that you learn and don't stick? Or maybe Spanish, or maybe something else. And then, can I find a pattern, right? So I found the pattern in my case, I told you. And so there's a logical way, an experiential way that I have to learn so that it sticks. And then, what environment do I usually learn better in? What environment do I usually learn better in? Can I find a pattern? I usually learn better in my bedroom, and then I have to go out of the bedroom. And when I go out of the bedroom in another room and I memorize something, words, or I'm learning Italian, for instance, I forget everything, and then I have to start over and over again. It'll change the room, the same thing, right? Can I find a pattern? And look for those patterns and see if you find a solution for one situation, for one thing that you're learning. You find a solution, then try to see if that solution from that other environment works for your French. What environment do I usually learn with most difficulty, right? So what environment do I usually easier? Can I find a pattern? How do I learn it? How does it work easier? But then again, go to what environment do I usually learn with most difficulty? For instance, when I used to take my dog out, she was pulling all over the place. I couldn't ever learn anything with her. And that's what I'm using when I want to memorize really, really well something. Then I take the dog out, and because she's pulling my attention all over the place, that's making sure that what I memorize with her, definitely is gonna stick. So use things from other places, from other things that you're learning. And now technique number 1. And so just before I go to technique number 1, I would like to tell you that if these videos are not going to stay on Facebook, they expire like everything else that I do. It's just not a great environment on Facebook. They are getting lost in the void anyway. And so rather than you starting to search on Facebook, doesn't work really well lately anyway, I do save them on YouTube. I create playlists. And so if you want to have access to the playlists, please go to the link in the description of this video. And if you are on my newsletter already, you receive my newsletter, just reply to one of them and ask for the playlist address, and I'm going to give that to you. And also, I would like to draw your attention to the program that is an immersion, is an immersive program that beginners, people from zero, is designed for them to finish it in 5 months, and people do that. So check out that program. I don't have many spots available at any given time. I am staying very limited because I give a lot of attention and a lot of my time to every single one of my clients, of my students. So check it out and see if that's something that you'd like to try. And now technique number 1 for today. So I would like to share your daily routine. So your daily routine is when we are preparing the right brain to take in what we learn by using the left brain. So what do we mean by that? Anything that we learned with our left hemisphere, the brain, it's information. Now, language is a performing art. Like I said, we just use someone else's words and we emote through them, or we express ourselves through them. In order for me to express myself through something, I have to make it my own, right? They have to like really express me. So it has to be like as if they are my own. So it is a process where the language migrates from the left brain to the right brain, and so this daily routine helps you do just that, so that you transform the language, which is just information at the beginning, a few words, you know, and conjugation and some grammar, and it becomes a tool of self-expression, just like pencils are for painters, just like words, just like the same way, are for actors, or movement for dancers. So number 1, be in a room where you can have complete privacy. Number 2, the stream of consciousness and answer without thinking the question, what bothered me today? What made me laugh? So you need to know, you need to be in the moment in order to be in the moment, because otherwise we can't learn if we're not, our brain is not right here, right now. The brain will not memorize anything. So you need to become very aware of what went well, what went badly that day, what bothered me that day. Really revisit so that you can throw it out the window, but also as distracting can be a very happy something, a very happy occurrence, right? So if you're very happy you won the lottery or something, definitely you can learn, right? Because all your attention is pulled by that. So revisit that so that you're aware that you want to take them away. You want to take your attention off of anything that could pull on your attention. Number 3, breathe deeper than usual and observe every negative and positive feeling. So breathe. What does that do? That puts us into the moment. We cannot learn. I'm sure that you experience this. That you repeat over and over and over and over and over again for hundreds of times some things, and they still don't stick. So I'm addressing here the complaint that a lot of people are telling me that they're learning, they're trying to learn, but it doesn't stick. Well, it doesn't stick if we're repeating things and thinking about something else, which is pulling our attention. And so breathe deeply and really notice the breath. Really look at your breath. I mean, listen to your breath. Be here so that you can really be in the moment and do something physical so that you get here and memorize much faster this way. And everything that you do, French, reading, listening, writing, do it out loud. Do it out loud. So what do I mean by that? I'm sure that you have done quite a few, if you started already to learn French, you may have tried to maybe do Duolingo or Rosetta Stone, or which I have nothing against, by the way. If it works for you, fantastic. People typically come to me after they tried these tools or in parallel. So if you're doing any of these, for instance, I learn Italian with Duolingo, and I also do make conversation with someone. So you have to, let's say you do Duolingo, it's pretty similar to anything, right? So you have some French words and you read them. when you read, if you read out loud, then you make that an experience, and that experience is much more memorable. Your brain is going to memorize it and remember much faster if you have the voice out of what you're saying as well. Also, you also can catch mistakes of your own pronunciation when you're speaking out loud. So when you are reading, do speak out loud, read out loud. When you are listening to something, try to speak out loud as well. So for instance, with Duolingo, I'm listening to, it's telling me what to write, and I'm writing down in Duolingo, and so I have to write down. I always repeat after the lady who's saying the words in Italian, I always repeat out loud. And also when I watch something, I'm trying to say out loud, if I can't, if it's a movie or something, maybe I can't do everything, but parts of it, what I understood, the words, I'm saying them out loud. Every single thing that you're doing in French, do it out loud. And don't mix the languages. That's how your brain is going to think in French faster. So you have, even in Duolingo, there is the English side, and there's the Italian, or sorry, the French side. So when there is something in English, don't let your mouth move in an English with English movements. Your brain is going to think in English as you read the English words. There's nothing to do, you can't do anything about that, because that's what the brain does. But don't say out loud the words, as in don't let your mouth switch from English to French. Stay in French for, I don't know how much you're doing, 5 minutes. I have my videos of 5 minutes, 3 minutes, right? So do what you do, but when you start practicing French, don't let your mouth say any English words. This is the technique number 1. It's a little like compound technique, but it is a routine, which if you are very consistent, you are going to find some consistency. You don't have to do a lot every day. You don't even have to memorize a lot of what you are doing. What's the important thing for the brain is to practice. So my motto is, don't learn French, practice it. Because when you practice it, then you give it what it needs. You give it the repetition that it needs to memorize, in order to memorize. But be here for it. And always try to think only French, or say only French, and let go of your mistakes. Let go of your mistakes, okay? So important thing, practice. Don't think about it. Don't beat yourself up for not memorizing things. We forget words in our mother tongue too. I'm sure I do. And so especially if it's not your only second language or your only foreign language. So I hope that this helped. Please write your questions in the comments below. Please share this video with your friends. These are techniques that not many people are sharing, and it's very important because French language is a performing art. You cannot learn it the way you learn business or anything else. It's a performing art. You have to do it and practice it. Don't learn it. Thank you so much for watching this. Please share this with your friends, and I'm going to see you tomorrow. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.